This is the stuff I gleaned from Geddy Lee and Chris Squire. And I almost want to say this sounds like a Rush or Yes bass part, but again, I know they kind of looked up to The Who or kind of spawning around the same time. So who knows who influenced who really, but I know that Geddy Lee was really a big fan of this band. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lone University. Today we're taking it back to the 70s, checking out The Who and their song Won't Get Fooled Again. This is from their fifth album, Who's Next, released in 1971. We're checking out a 1978 live version, which I've never seen before. In addition to things I haven't seen or heard before, The Who in general is a band I've just evaded for no particular reason. As big of a Rush fan, as big of a Yes fan as I am, I just never went back and checked this band out much. I've seen CSI Miami, so I know the intro of this song, but this is going to be my first time to really digest it. Let's get to it. The Who, Won't Get Fooled Again, live from 1978. Okay, this, you can't not have heard the intro of this at least, but the rest of the song, don't know. I know Keith Moon was crazy and pioneering for his style. I know some about the members, but I just went all into Rush and Yes off the bat and never went back for this band. This looks amazing for 1978. I'm down with some great stage presence. Love it, energy. Ooh, it's a cool bass. Vaguely familiar. I want to get a look at that bass. I know John Entwistle, however you pronounce it, called Thunderfingers. I've heard that a lot. And again, being a fan of Rush, yes, I'm aware of how much this band influenced them. I've heard both, members of those bands candidly talk about their influence from The Who, and which is why it's a shame I just never went and checked this band out. But look at this bass. 3 pickups, neck bridge, and something in the middle. Might be a 5-way thing. Lots of different knobs there. I'm fascinated to see his playing style, again, to get the name Thunderfingers, but I don't know much past that. So far, it sounds like we're kind of in E. Let's see where it keeps going. Kind of going down that D major top thing there. This is great production. Insanely good. Now, I have heard the thing about Keith Moon with no, is it no hi-hats or is it no ride cymbal or is it neither? I've heard 3 crash cymbals. Being a fan of Dream Theater, I heard Mike Portnoy talk about Keith Moon a lot. Again, that's just one of those like indirect exposures I had to the band without checking much further. But that's such a bold statement for this era, just to choose a setup like that. I'm loving the rock and roll riffs, classic feel, the bass line's grooving, and just great classic rock. I don't know too much about the history of this era in the sense of where The Who fell alongside other bands, but I know that they were sort of just one of the first and one of the greats for just big production theatrical rock with a touch of prog, if you want to say that, a touch of twists and turns, or I've not listened to much. Just gritty tone. I love his technique. I can tell he's plucking really hard. In one of the videos I did for Ryan Martini, I was talking about his sort of claw hammer, not claw hammer, what whatever Ryan Martini is known for, where he's kind of up here, kind of going. But I read that he got the influence from John as well. So I'm excited to see if he uses that in here. Good gritty tone. I can certainly see why Chris Squire and Geddy Lee kind of idolize that tone, just the gritty, big presence kind of underneath it. That's kind of a staple sound that hasn't died even today. Bass players are going for that kind of grit, that cut, and that drive. I don't know much about what bass this is, but it looks super cool. When I was a Warwick artist, I did see the Buzzard model in their kind of like Hall of Fame showroom that apparently he played or used to own. So, yeah, let's keep it going.
The world looks just the same, and history ain't changed. The banners, they all
kind of going down A pentatonic. Oh yeah, love those little counterpoint melodies in the bass. I'm all about this. This is the stuff I gleaned from Geddy Lee and Chris Squire. And I almost want to say this sounds like a Rush or Yes bass part, but again, I know they kind of looked up to the Who, or kind of spawning around the same time. So who knows who influenced who really, but I know that Geddy Lee was really a big fan of this band. I love those little counterpoint melodies. It's going to the upper extensions of the chord. Just giving it some melody. This is something I would hear both Geddy and Chris do. Taking the chord progression and not just grooving on the root note. He's really adding some range, some extended registers up here. That kind of stuff. I love that. That is such in my DNA from those two guys and so many other players. So you could in essence say I was influenced by this band as well, because it's all just one big family tree of rock, classic rock, and how it just transcended into the genres we have today. Love how hard he's hitting the strings. You can just hear it and see it. Such an interesting drumming style. I've never really watched him play. Ooh. Something about keeping a bass line moving like that just keeps the energy up when the vocals stop. It's something I feel like I've used over the years in a couple different bands. A chorus ends, or there's just a break with instrumentation, I'll beef up the bass line a little bit in this style just to give the same chord some extra movement, and that can really ensure the energy keeps going and just kind of ties into that next phrase. A lot of A major, A pentatonic stuff going on here. Kind of hear those gallops going on, locking in with different parts of the drumming. Keith Moon here is just really playing to the energy of everyone else. It's not like, he's just keeping time. And I've kind of always, again, have just read that about him as a drummer, and it's really cool to see it in action. Just all that filthy movement. That was a tasty feel of the bang, get a gun, get a gun, get a gun, get a gun. Just kind of changing one note as it sort of descends. You can kind of hear that here. Good stuff. Drummer Keith hitting on just the most interesting accents. I'm kind of watching it here. Really interesting. Kind of gives us just really loose feel. A little bass break here. Either way, he's keeping it moving. It's interesting how much he wraps his thumb over the neck as well. He's using a lot of those open string, kind of first position, open position. You know, personally, I always stray away from open strings. I think they just sound too different than fretted notes, especially if it's not a fast-moving line. But I talked about this in the John Mayung last analysis I did, where he uses those strings, and I think they just are the most popping sound. You know, an open G string is going to sound way different than this G up here. Or this, even this G up here. These are the same note. Listen to the difference in tone. Open G string, it's just bam, bam, right there. Play the same G way up here. That has no attack on it. So there's a lot of, creative direction you can have simply by where you play a note. If you have a bass groove you're playing or writing and it just doesn't have the pizzazz you want, try to bring it closer to the nut. You're going to get more of that brighter sound. And, just from what I'm seeing so far, his playing is just about that aggressive, growling undertone of the song. So, the open strings would be your best bet in that situation. His thumb's way over the top. That's kind of interesting. Look at that hair. Okay, the verse is pretty familiar to me. What was that? Just a slide from the very top fret? Really cool. They're really fun to watch. Kind of going down in scale of thirds type of thing. Just love the way it elevates just one static chord like that. You give it some movement, playing notes in that scale. I can't say it enough. It's always a very, very crucial tool when used right to just add energy to any part of a song. And again, I'm kind of learning. This is where a lot of these bass players got it from. I don't know if he was the first to do it. This is early 70s, late 60s with this band. Really cool to go back and kind of see these same things being used today that were used, ubiquitously back then. Absolutely. Little chromatic thing's cool there. That's a little tasty little fast fill right on there on the last bar of that phrase. Whatever it was, I loved it. I haven't seen any other technique besides finger style. But that might just be Thunder Fingers in essence there, right? Just a powerful player. Did I speak too soon? I might have. I want to see what he's doing there. Cut to the bass. Thought I heard something. Up and down the neck, I hear it. I can't see it, but I can hear the A, G, F sharp. not sure what open string he's using. Good Lord. This is signature stuff. This sound. I like that static repeating note. I can't help but hear that. It's just really good kind of voicing of all those little subtle note changes that kind of add little color. It kind of gets dark for a second with a minor chord, but you can kind of hear it. D, D, E, E. Kind of just that static bottom part and the notes changing on top. Oh, bringing it back. Epic. That's great lighting. That looks cool as hell. That's epic. The whole way that was the cinematography of that whole part was exactly what I wanted to see. Epic, the slow motion. I didn't know it was going to come back quite like that same thing from the intro. Again, this is the most recognizable part of the song. You know, that's used in TV shows, like I was saying. So I recognize that, but it's like even stronger when it came back this time. No, I got to get the full thing. Bear with me. You're going to do it with me. Here we go. Oh, that's great. Super effective songwriting there. Oh, there goes a crash cymbal. I like how the riff has changed a slight bit as well. It's a little more straight, a little more driving. Effective thing, you know, you bring back the same part. You either complicate what was before to make it bigger or like just like it's growing, or you take something that was more nuanced in the beginning and simplify it and make it more intense. Two different ways to do the same thing. It's all about where you want to take the song. Effective thing to bring it down like that. I kind of want to hear the studio version to see how this was, and it may be fairly the same, but it's really effective to bring back, change this riff to give it a more driving. I don't hear quite as much moving around in the bass. It's just kind of singular, driving it home. Let me hear it again. I was a little late there. Whoa. No, I want to keep seeing it. These end screens, go away. Wow, what an ending. This was a nice fly back in time to kind of see where the genesis of some of my favorite bands started. Not there, literally, but with this band. You know, I've heard so much about the band, and I just think they were a little before my time. And I was just one of those people that picked my 10 bands and just wanted to listen to everything about them before I moved on to anyone else. And The Who just never made that cut for me. And after hearing about them so much indirectly through interviews and such with the bands I liked, I thought by the time I did this video series, started in 2023, this is the time for me to check out those bands I never checked out. And it's even better when you guys recommend them, because I'm like, that's the band I've been putting off for 10 years and not really taking seriously. It's time to go listen to them on video with you guys. I want to kind of discover it with no distractions, just right here. This was my chance to do that. This was just a classic, great rock song. Didn't have too many crazy chord progressions. Doesn't need to. Just good feeling, pentatonic, intense, and you have the Who's slightly bit of quirkiness to kind of take it to that next level. I can hear the genesis of those prog elements, which Genesis is another band I should do on here, right? So that was kind of a pun there, if you will. But just great. I love the moving bass parts. I can certainly hear that influence again on those same guys that I grew up listening to. I want to go hear more Who. I feel like this is kind of a preview of what their sound might be like. I'm sure they have deeper, more intense stuff. Where should I start? You guys let me know. You guys always have the best recommendations. And I feel like, again, this song just kind of scratches the surface of what the Who are about. This is like everything about the band might be in this song. So I'm curious to see how down the rabbit hole they might go. And if there's songs you think I should do here on the channel with you guys, let me know. I always knew they tore stuff up on stage, or maybe they had, but I didn't know they'd do it every show. Is that something they always do? Or just enough to damage a lot of gear? Who knows? I'm excited to check more out, but thank you guys for being with me. Cheers, love you all, and we will see you next time.